Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Kris Gethin here, and this is the Knowledge and Mileage podcast. I just got my ass straight from the gym, so I'm all pumped up here. Pity you all can't see me. I'm looking very short, stocky, but pumped. Anyway, let's get straight into this week's episode. This is going to be the last episode that covers the 8-week hardcore video trainer reboot. I'm giving you additional content, information, hacks, secrets, whatever you want to call it, for those of you that are following this video series. Next week, I will go on to various subject matters, but I will only go on to subject matters that you tell me that you want to hear about. So please do comment below. Give me a review below, and I would love to get your subscription. So please subscribe to this Knowledge and Mileage podcast. And God, as if I haven't asked for enough, please tell your friends. Please share this podcast. You guys give me the purpose to be continuous with this, so continue to do so, and I'll continue to deliver. Right, what have we got today? So I put a post out on my Instagram and asked what you guys wanted me to cover for the last episode of this Knowledge and Mileage podcast in regards to the 8-week hardcore video trainer reboot, and the overwhelming response was reverse dieting. People have a little bit of confusion surrounding the way to reverse diet. Should they reverse diet? They don't want to lose all their gains, and they don't want to put on all the fat, obviously, that you've just lost over this 8-week period. So I'm going to tell you how to reverse diet. Not that I reverse diet like this myself, because I don't really care if I put on a little bit of fat after a diet. Like if I have to stay lean for several months for photo shoots and videos and all that sort of stuff, so be it. I'll do that. But if I don't have to, I just put on a bit of fat. I'm not too bothered about that. I always find a form and function from those little extra calories that sit on my waistline. Anyway, so let's go into reverse dieting. Begin lowering your cardio ever so slightly. Now, you're going to be doing double cardio at the end of this program. I think you're up to about 55 minutes in the morning, 55 minutes in the evening for the last week, and the last week only. So what I would want you to do after you finish this is lower that cardio expectation and duration by about 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, or AM, PM, whatever you want to call it. So you'd be doing 45 minutes of cardio in the morning, 45 in the evening. Do that for the following 7 days. Then the next 7 days, bring it down to 35 and 35, and then 25 and 25. I don't believe that you should ever do any less than 30 minutes cardio a day. I think it's great for your heart, your function, your bone density, the synovial fluid flow to your joints, and your lungs. You want to open that cardiovascular response. So I believe you should always do some form of cardio. But if you want to reverse that cardio, that is the way that I'd suggest that you do it. When it comes to carbohydrates, because I know you're all craving those carbohydrates, and I'm not talking about simple carbs, I'm talking about complex carbs here. So things like your rice, your potatoes, your quinoa, your oatmeal, etc. So I would want you to begin by increasing your carbohydrates by around 50 grams daily for the first week. Okay, so if you're down to, let's say, 80 grams, then you're going to bump that up to 130. Then the following week, you'd bump that up to 170 or 180. So you get where I'm going? So you'd increase it 50, 50, 50 every week. Okay, so you'd have 50 more on the Monday, 50 more on the Tuesday. Then come the following Monday, you are up to 100 more, and etc. Does that make sense? I hope so. Now, everybody's going to be different. So if you're a smaller person, maybe 50 is okay. But if you're a larger person, you've got a faster metabolism, maybe you want to bump it up a little bit more, maybe 80. maybe as far as 100. Everybody's going to be different because everyone's got a different response to carbohydrates, and everyone's got a different body type and metabolism, whether you're an ectomorph, mesomorph, or endomorph. So you'll have to kind of adjust accordingly by looking at the mirror, the scales, and having your body composition tested, just so you can gauge, because it's not a one size fits all here. If you've got more muscle mass, you're going to burn off more calories just by sitting on your ass maintaining it. Okay, so take that into consideration. Now when it comes to your fats, I increase it by about 15 grams for the first week, and then I'll slowly increase it further from there. So I may go up another 10 grams the following week, maybe another 5 grams the week following that. I don't eat a high fat diet consciously. I do like my fats. So subconsciously, I probably do go overboard. I really do like my sprouted or fermented flax seeds, my hemp seeds, my chia seeds, my almonds, my walnuts, my hazelnuts, my egg yolks, my avocado. I do like my fats, you know. I'm just very careful with not having too much flaxseed, because that has got some estrogenic properties, and I don't want my boobs any bigger than they already are. Now, so you're going to have some cravings as you go towards the end of this program, and the last thing I want you to do is go to the Cheesecake Factory and just gorge yourself and buy 3 packets of cereals you've been missing and eat all of them for the following day's breakfast, and then just go into a carb coma until you're able to wake up and gorge yourself again. I want you to understand and acknowledge how sweet certain healthy foods are, because now you've eradicated a lot of the sweets from your diet that gives you an inflammatory response, that sends a chemical reaction to your brain to crave more sugars and something sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. If you start having just healthy sweet, simple sugars, bit by bit in the form of fruits, you'll be astounded how sweet those fruits actually taste now. That they maybe didn't taste so sweet before because you were so used to having other sweeteners or sugars or other bad foods every now and again, and you become accustomed to it, and much like caffeine or a drug or sex, you just want more, and more. So when you get off this diet, start thinking of healthy desserts where you can include some fruits as a form of a cheat. So you may have some of the caged muscle casein mixed into a pudding, and then you'll add some blueberries and some strawberries and some blackberries and some cranberries to that. All these berries are very low in sugar. However, they're very sweet, and you'll be surprised how much you'll actually enjoy that. You could even have some Greek yogurt. It's high in protein, low in sugars, but add some fruits to that. Beautiful. I like to have Greek yogurt sometimes. Or my favorite cheat is a banana split. I absolutely love banana split. So I make a healthy version of it. I'll get a banana, split it in half, and I'll just have the one half on the one side. Then I'll add some Greek yogurt and some chocolate casein drizzled on top of that, with some chopped nuts on top of that, and that is my dessert. Absolutely beautiful. If you want to get some sugar-free syrup from Walden Farms, you can drizzle a little bit on there, but I find that is absolutely sweet enough. So there's no need to go for a cheesecake or any candy or loaded chocolate. That is going to satisfy your sweet tooth. That is supposedly there. I think it's convincing you. It's tricked you. It's not there really. Don't live in denial. Have that banana split. It's beautiful. And then you can further get creative with your other forms of carbohydrates. So it gives your brain and your eyes an understanding that it's cheating. Maybe you're craving a pizza. I love pizza. However, you would be surprised how awesome that tastes when you make your own. I like to get like a spinach wrap or a burrito wrap, a wholemeal wrap, and on top of that, I will then add some tomato paste, low-calorie tomato paste, and on top of that, I will either put chicken or some tuna, or I'll have some ground beef, whatever flavored pizza you want, you'd actually put that protein source on there. And then on top of that, I will get some very low fat or some fat-free cheese and spread the fat-free cheese on top of that with mushrooms, with tomatoes, with basil, with some pineapple on there as well. I love my Hawaiian pizzas. But when you taste that, you'll be surprised how awesome it tastes. However, you may not be satisfied with one pizza because it is so light. You don't feel like you have to go outside to hibernate just to digest it, or bathe in the sun like a reptile. It's very easily digested because it's a very light food. But I tell you what, it satisfies you. You want to watch a movie and eat a pizza? Try one of those homemade pizzas, and it's so quick and easy to make, believe me. I like to put the wrap on the frying pan for a little bit first, make it a little bit crispy, then I'll add my toppings, throw it in the oven, boom, voila. But I'll cook the protein first, if it's not like a tuna, tin tuna for instance, and then put that on there and just wait for the cheese to melt. Damn, my stomach is rumbling just talking about this. I wish you didn't ask me to talk about reverse dieting. I just want to front load. Right. Okay, so, and burritos. I love breakfast burritos. There's no reason why you can't get some egg whites, get some salsa, some mushrooms, some fat-free cheese in there, and all of a sudden it feels like you're cheating, but you're not. Even with Ezekiel bread, I try not to go for too much gluten myself. I don't like that protein, or my stomach doesn't like that protein, and it gives me an inflammatory response if I eat too much of it. I've got plenty of good bacteria in my gut, so it does handle a lot of these foods. However, if you're eating a lot of these foods and taking in contaminants and pesticides and hidden molds that we breathe in, then after a while your bad bacteria does outratio your good bacteria, and that's when you have these inflammatory responses or allergic responses. So I try to keep my gluten at bay, but Ezekiel bread, that's a really good one that you can have some Ezekiel bread, maybe some turkey in there, maybe some tomato, and again, some low-fat cheese, again, so it feels like you're cheating. One of my favorite snacks. Get ready for this. We actually filmed this for the 8-week muscle building video training the other day, and that was rice cakes. You can get some wholemeal or brown rice cakes. On top of that, get a couple of bowls and mix a vanilla caged muscle casein into a pudding, and then a chocolate caged muscle casein into a pudding, and then spread that on top of the rice cakes. Put that in the fridge for say 15-20 minutes. Take that out so it's like an icing. That is a beautiful, healthy, high protein snack with some healthy, complex carbohydrates. You want to add some healthy fats on there? Go ahead. Put some nuts or some seeds on top of there so you get a little bit of angry crunch to go with that nurturing casein. Right, further from that, one thing that I've been implementing for the past several months now, I started playing around with fasting. I had to go for a colonoscopy several months ago, and I had to fast, and it was very concerning because I hadn't missed a meal in like 19 years. So I thought, okay, let's just give it a go. I'll fast. So I fasted for the colonoscopy, and I thought, well, I might as well give fasting a go now, because I'd heard a lot about it. I'd read and researched a lot about it. I could see that there was definitely a lot of benefits to it, but I can never give an opinion until I do it. That's why you're listening to a podcast called Knowledge and Mileage. Without me putting in the mileage, I feel that I cannot give you the knowledge. So I tried it, and I did it for 4 weeks, 5 days a week. And it was a controlled fast. So when I say controlled fast, I was still drinking my hydrocharge with my fermented glutamine, my fermented BCAAs throughout the day. And if I wanted a cup of herbal tea or a coffee, you know what, I'd go and have it. So that's called a control, because normally fasting in its traditional sense is just with water. And I'd learned a lot from my friend who works for Caged Muscle, Nick Holt, about this, because he'd been doing this for many, many years. And he'd got great success. This bastard always has abs all year round, but he's got a lot of muscle in his frame, and he fasts a lot, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, and he'll fast extended, from like 8 o'clock in the evening till like maybe 6 o'clock the following evening. He really goes hardcore. So he gave me some advice on how to do it. And when I break my fast, start off with your raw vegetables, and then your cooked or cooked vegetables, and then raw vegetables, and then your protein source, and then your complex carbohydrate after that. So that's what I was doing for like 4 weeks, 5 days a week. And I actually enjoyed it. There's no way that I could put muscle on, fasting that hard. That's an impossibility. But I could definitely see how you could lean out and get rid of a lot of the undigested food that could be generally sitting in our stomachs, throughout our intestinal walls, because protein can be, especially as you get a little bit older, hard to digest. So I felt a lot better. It took me several days to get used to it, but after several days, I felt that I had more energy, a little bit more clarity. And there's studies out there that do show that it helps improve your muscle protein synthesis when you break that fast, your insulin sensitivity response. There's a lot of studies out there that I actually researched. And I thought, well, there's something to this. I'm not going to do it 5 days a week, but I did it 1 day a week following that. So through this video series, I've been doing it 1 day a week. And I'm not going to give out too much info because you're going to have to wait to see the video series. So if you are reverse dieting, what I would suggest you do is once a week, fast. And when I say fast, I want you to do maybe a 16-8 to begin with and work your way up to maybe a 18-6. So that means you would fast for 16 hours, okay? And later on you can fast for maybe 18, possibly 20. But for 16 hours, and then you have an 8-hour window to eat. So let's say you fast at 8 o'clock in the evening. 2, 3 o'clock, whatever the following day is when you would break that fast, okay? This is going to do a few things for you that are reverse dieting. This is going to control your need for taking in excessive amount of calories. This is going to be enlightening for you because usually if you're the kind of person, much like me, that would once panic if I was to leave the home without my cool bag and at least 2 or 3 meals, even if I'm just going downtown, it is very enlightening to know that there's no need to panic. You can be a little bit calmer, and in response to that, your cortisol levels are probably going to be lower because I don't panic as much now. My stomach is rumbling while I'm talking to you right now, actually, but at one point I would panic, I'd freak out thinking I'm losing muscle. I don't freak out about it now, and I find that is very enlightening to your disciplinary actions when it can be, for some of us, who have that ghrelin hormone, which is always craving, which always wants to feed, it can help you control that and control that need to always eat or feel the need to eat. When you don't actually, how many of us eat a meal and that is enough for your stomach to absorb, get utilized as a calorie response for muscle restoration and energy, but you still eat. You've had one bowl, you want another bowl, you have another plate, whatever it may be. So it will really help you control that curve of uninvited hunger and uninvited consistent eating. So give that a shot. Once a week, I want you to fast, okay? Now, if you want to do it like me, you'd call it controlled intermittent fasting. So you'd have your hydrocharge, and I do suggest that you drink a lot of water when you're doing this, just to keep you full. Furthermore, I suggest that you stay extremely busy and active. So I fasted on a Sunday. I stayed very busy on Sunday. I did my cardio, then I went and did taxes at my girlfriend's mother's place, and then I worked all afternoon. And, before I know it, I was like, okay, I was supposed to break my fast like an hour ago. I'd gone over. So it's always good to stay busy, because if you're sat at home, you'll be thinking about food the entire time, and you're going to go for that cupboard because it'll be calling you. Right. Anyway, I think that has covered everything today for reverse dieting. Hopefully that has answered some of your queries. So you just go nice and slowly into that reverse dieting process. However, let's say you diet down and you still have further to go. You still want to burn a little bit more fat. I would suggest, if in that case, is that you just reverse diet for like a week. you can pull it back a little bit more than what I just suggested, just to give your metabolism a boost, namely through your carbohydrates. If you find that you're freaking out on your partner or yourself, you're getting stressed, you're getting angry, you're not sleeping at night, maybe your brain needs some fat, so you'd throw some fats in there as well. Always look out for these little responses that seem a little bit erratic to your normal characteristic. And then after, say, 7 to 10 days, then you would go back into the program to allow you to lean out a little bit more. So let's say you've done the 8-week hardcore video trainer reboot, but you started at quite a heavy weight and you wanted to diet down a little bit more to get to your target goal. So you could go straight into the 4 weeks to shred program, or you could repeat part of the 8-week video trainer. But I wouldn't want you dieting on those low carbs and that low fat for an extended period further than the 8 weeks in one go. So pull it back for 7 to 10 days and then go straight back into it. This is the Knowledge and Mileage podcast. Please do subscribe. Please do leave a review. I'd really, really appreciate that. And even more so, I'd love it if you would share this with others. I am Kris Gethin, the CEO of Cage Muscle, co-founder of Kris Gethin Gyms. I am out, and I will see you here next week. Thank you.